Hey guys, so today we're going to be showing you a minute template that many different organizations that I've worked with have started to incorporate, and this allows us to become more productive. It's easier to find things, and we'll just go from there. Alright, so let's dive in. First, we're going to basically walk you through everything and then kind of give you examples and work on it as we go through so that you have more reference as well. So right here is where you can change the title and change it according to your VSA or whatever your general organization would be. There's some shortcuts right here which link to different things that you might be using for productivity, different applications. If any of them have a harder link, then you can kind of incorporate it there. Table of contents, which is essentially every meeting that you have, you'll be able to fill in a new date in a shortcut so you can jump straight to it every time you need to. There's going to be a section for attendance just so you or whoever is going to keep track of everything, and they have format. Alright, so for this section right here, you're going to be able to see two different type of formats that different organizations use. We'll go through both of them and essentially give you an example that you can kind of run through and decide which one would better fit your organization and how you guys like to run things. And then after that, I'll show you what a to-do list or action item and how you should be able to follow up for each of your members who are delegated a task during each meeting, just so you guys can keep yourselves accountable. Alright, so let's just start by walking through and start filling out some of the information. I'm going to be basing most of the details off of my VSA, which is UIC's VSA, and then you can get your own idea on how you want to fulfill it for your own organization. So let's just dive right in. We are going to start by entering UIC's VSA right here. Your term year can be anything that you want it to be, however you want to direct it. If you want to use the minutes for a culture show, change it to your culture show and add your year. You can also just do it for whatever your e-board term is. So I'm going to be putting in 2015 through 2016, and we'll go from there. This next line right here is going to be what is known as hyperlinking in order to help you have shortcuts to the different applications that you guys may use for your own organization. So as you can see, the ones that are already highlighted with a line under it, which means there is a link already attached to it, or you can also have application shortcuts that you guys might use and attach those as well. So for the first one, the master doc, this is your master document essentially. So that hyperlink from the very top of your URL, you can copy it, paste it, and then when you click this little paperclip, you'll go insert link, title it whatever you want to title it. So like I did, this is a master doc. Pasting the link right here, and then hitting apply. Once you have that, you'll always have a hyperlink to get to whichever application that you need to get to, and it'll make it a lot easier for you to figure out what you're doing. So if you have a master team drive like we do, from here you'll be able to click that link and be able to access whatever files you have in your Google Drive for your organization a lot quicker than having to go through, oh, this is the folder I kept it in, or wherever you may have saved your shortcuts. If you incorrectly enter it, you can always go back and change it. So clicking change will allow you to pop up to that last screen that you were already on and be able to edit the link however you may need fit. Perfect. Next, we're going to be moving on to something that's called essentially shortcuts or bookmarks. From here, you can enter whichever date that you need to enter. So let's go ahead and edit a date. Let's go with my birthday, February 1st. And then your year term is going to be 15. From here, once you enter in this, you'll have it and you can change it sequentially or how frequently you have your minutes. You can always add on more boxes right here by right-clicking and adding columns to the right, if you want to do it that way, to the left, or a whole row above or below. I would suggest below, because that just adds on to whatever you already had fit. And then from there, you have a bookmark link that you can use. Alright, so we'll swing back to that in a little bit once we already set up our bookmarks, and we'll be able to hyperlink them back. So, just for a record, it's always a good idea to keep attendance of who shows up to your meetings, so that if anybody does have an action item, they're accountable for it. And for those individuals that aren't actually at the meetings, you'll know that they needed to check back at the minutes if you assign them something, and you'll figure out if they did it or if they didn't. And that's a good way for you to be sure that everybody has their assignments easier and available to them, so that they can refresh themselves and make sure that they know what they're supposed to do by the next meeting. So there's two different formats. Format 1, which I've hyperlinked right here, and Format 2, which is hyperlinked right here. So generally with both formats, I always like to hyperlink the date. So like we mentioned earlier, the first date we used was February 1st, 2015. So let's go ahead and enter that in right here. Once you have that entered in right here, you can add a bookmark by clicking Insert, Bookmark, and Link. That creates a bookmark, and you'll see this blue flag right here. So once you enter that date in right here, like we mentioned earlier, you'll see this blue flag. But how do you exactly link it back to the table of contents date that you had earlier? Well, it's pretty simple. Let's go ahead and show you how to do that. Go ahead and highlight date from the table of contents that you already assigned to earlier. Go ahead and right click. Scroll all the way down till you see that link button right here. And search for all the different URLs that you already have, but you can also hit your bookmark and select from the list right here. So the 3 bookmarks that I already have so far is Format 1, Format 2, and that date that we added earlier. So we're going to click that date from earlier and apply it like you did with the paperclip earlier. Now you have a hyperlink that is now blue, and if you accidentally did it like you did earlier incorrectly, you can always change it or remove it and go back from there. So let's see how it works. And I go ahead and hyper here. It'll move my cursor to this date right here. Now per se that I have bookmarked my to-do list instead. Go ahead and add a bookmark here. And instead I wanted to remove this one and say that it was the to-do list. Instead of the date that I want to bookmark, I can go ahead, link it the same way, search for the bookmark, and click to-do list and apply it. Now, when I click that link, it'll drop me straight to that to-do list that'll make it easier for you to find in the future. So far, as a recap, we just showed you how to do bookmarks and hyperlinking them into your table of contents. Now, let's move on to the different formats that we are going to go over for here. Format 1 essentially lists your positions, each by whatever position you hold on board. So, for example, right here, you would have your president, and the president would be able to list all the different things that he or she needs to talk about. You could list the main topic for the position, any subtopic or category under that, and then just keep going in. How do you get your indentations? Every time you already set a list by using this cursor right here with the bullets, it's already preset. Once you hit down, you'll see that the bullet matches the same level as it did for the other topic. By indenting, by clicking tab, it allows you to move in so that it's easier for you to list your subtopics that relate to one another. So once you do that, you'll be able to essentially go over all the things that you need to discuss for each person. Following the next person, let's say that you are the cultural dance coordinator. Go ahead and enter that. Your first topic of duty is going to be dance practice. So now that you know that the main topic is dance practice and you want all of these to be your subcategories, go ahead and hit tab again. Tab one more time for both of them. Now that you know dance practice is your main topic, your times are going to be from here and here, and the location is here and here. Like I mentioned earlier, if you want to have key things that you can do for hyperlinking, you can always add in something like dance practice right here and hyperlink it so it's easier for your members or your board members to know what space the practice will be in and where. You can use this table of contents for generally anything that you want to use it for, but you can also use it specifically for meetings and dates. Or you could add two of them, one specifically for dates and one for important topics that you need to remember for by your next meeting or during that week, and you can always go back and change it based on how we showed you earlier. And that's generally how you use format 1. You'll list each of the positions and what each of the people need to talk about during your e-board meeting. It's generally going to be easier for each of your members to already have something that they need to say and have it sent in so that the format looks the same. But you can always have each of your members have access to this minute template and they can enter it in every week by themselves. Alright, so let's show you how to use format 2. We just put in cultural showcase right here. The assignment for cultural showcase is that we need to find performers. While we need to find performers, this ties in with what we're going to show you after this, which is the to-do item action list. So if you want to assign this to James, per se, we can always go and hit insert, bookmark. This will show us performer XYZ later when we jump down to James right here. So now we'll show you how to tie it in together. This can get a little bit messy if you're not organized, so you can actually do two different things with the to-do list. You can actually use the bookmark idea, or you can have somebody just type down the minutes, what their assignments are. Generally, I would say to keep less bookmarks and things more clean, I would just bookmark your to-do action item list and have each of your board members be able to just jump down to their action item list section and see what they're assigned for, instead of having numerous bookmarks. But preference is going to be up to you. So let's show you the to-do list. A to-do list right here is generally going to allow your board members to glance quickly at what they're responsible for doing during the future timeline. You can have stuff due by the next date of the meeting, or you can also have stuff due throughout the week, depending on what your time frame is. The biggest important thing is to have somebody assigned and accountable to make sure each of these tasks are being completed each week. Are you going to have a penalty for your board members not completing their action item list? That's something that you need to consider for your board. Some boards work better by getting fined. Other boards get by a lot easier by just reminders. If you guys have a group chat on Slack or GroupMe or any form of that, you can always just shoot a reminder midweek. Hey, remember to take a look at your action items in order to make sure that they are on top of their stuff. Alright, so like I mentioned earlier, you can also do different things with your action item list. What I recommend is being able to list each of the people on board and having their to-dos right under them or side by side. Per se, James has too many to-dos. You can either have them side by side like this, or you can use that method earlier that we showed you how to use indenting to make things more organized. Preference is always going to be up to you, so find the one that's best working for your board. Remember that link we made earlier next to Performer XYZ? Well, you can always also use it that way by linking from earlier, hitting your bookmarks, and have Performer XY. See, and you can have it hyperlinked here as well so that they can kind of jump back to where it was before. So they have more context if they really need it. And that's another method to use as well. Overall, that is the whole minute template and everything that you can possibly do with it. I hope that this gave you some ideas on how to be more productive during your VSA meetings or whichever organizations you're a part of. You can change the format however you see fit, and I'll be able to add just a blank minute template that you'll be able to download as a resource so that you have more ways to be successful.